Welcome to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast, your podcast for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Sean Chavarella, Stephen Clary, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Spare Parts Racing. I'm your host, Sean.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Taylor.
And friends, we have quite a bit to talk about this week. First, we have some news in the F1 world that was pretty earth-shattering, I would say, in terms of drivers. And we saw it coming, but didn't. Anyway, it happened right after we uploaded last week, so.
As is tradition.
Yeah.
As is tradition.
We need to talk about that. And we also have our week at the Honda Indy Toronto to talk about, as we were there. Me and Steven as drunk fans, and Taylor as a sober marshal.
Not until the end. At the end of the day, that's when the marshals go ham.
That's your sales pitch to be a marshal. So yeah, we will jump into this, and without further ado, De Vries out, Ricciardo win. What's everyone's reaction?
Mild confusion.
Not unsurprised, but damn, it's brutal. Like, honestly, brutal.
Yeah, my initial thoughts is why? Like, trying to understand what do you actually get out of this move? Because you've ruined De Vries' career at this point. He's done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
he's
rude
done.
to say, but his F1 dream is dead. What, less than 10 races in?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, this is such a lesson, at least in my eyes. I feel like this is such a lesson to any rookie who's like looking to try and make their career happen at Red Bull. Like, you have to know that you are the next Max Verstappen or whatever. And maybe that's who they're going to be looking for in any young talent that they recruit going forward. But I mean, I think Red Bull is focused on results always. And I'm not surprised that they pulled this absolutely brutal, semi-humiliating, actually not even semi, totally humiliating move. They don't care. If they're not getting what they want, you're done. You're out, even if it is AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
Sorry. I had I thought I finished my thought, and then I had one pop in, and it was like, oh my gosh. And I wonder, are they previewing Ricciardo for a potential seat change with Checo next year?
put a pin in that conversation, because I think there is a conversation there to have.
Okay.
Stick with us the first De Vries part of this for now, and dropping De Vries for Ricciardo is an incredible risk, I think, for Red Bull.
Why do you say it's a risk?
Well, because you have two options, or two scenarios here that play out. One, Ricciardo's right back up to speed, and he's same pace as Yuki. Okay, if we're justified, should have dropped De Vries, no problem. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense totally. Second option is you've just dropped your new rookie you brought in, signed a old has-been. I mean, rude to say, but no, Ricciardo is pushing up in the age of F1 drivers. I wouldn't say he's no spring chicken, and, maybe his pace has been falling as he gets older, so, yeah. And you're going to put him into that seat. The day this happened, he was also testing and spun in that test. So that's a real confidence booster.
Yeah.
So if Ricciardo goes in this car and then has the same pace of De Vries, then you're screwed regardless. Like, you've destroyed De Vries' F1 hopes. You've ruined Ricciardo's reputation. The only person that actually wins in this scenario, really, is Yuki.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll bet that Yuki Tsunoda is going to continue to be the top driver at AlphaTauri. And then, as we can have the Perez conversation, who's next in line to replace Perez then? It's not Ricciardo. It's Yuki. So then you promote Yuki. Fine. No, it should be. Then you promote Yuki, and because you're so ruthless with rookies, who are you going to fill?
Just straight swap? I don't know.
But like that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, even going forward and everything like that, like it is downpouring out there. Jesus. Anyway, I hear it. I don't know if the mic can pick up on this.
Sunshine and rainbows.
As you say, I like how Sean's in the middle of us, and we both looked out the window expecting the exact same thing.
No. But yeah, I see this as an absolute risk. And yeah, sorry for the distraction of rain, but like, damn.
That's okay. Squirrel?
A little squirrel.
That's okay. We all have squirrel brains at this point.
It's going to mute the mic just in case picks it up.
I totally like I see what you're saying, and I agree on some points. Like it is a little bit risky because we also know how long it takes Ricciardo sometimes to truly adjust to a car, and he tested a Red Bull car. He didn't test the AlphaTauri. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I feel like Red Bull is up to some shenanigans in the driver market this year that no one is going to see coming. As much as we all saw this De Vries move coming, maybe not before the summer break, which was, I think, the biggest surprise to me, is just how quick and just like, well, nope, we're done, cut ties immediately. Like that, to me, was the most surprising part.
Yeah, you haven't even got the guy, I would say, on European tracks that he might be more familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
So you just basically said, no chance, you're done.
And when you're getting to just one track that he might know in Spa, right? So
yeah, and it's just I was honestly shocked that they didn't even give him it was 2 races, 2 races until the summer break.
And not even like a prolonged break between 2 back-to-back weeks and then a month off where you can sit, assess what's gone wrong. Is it purely his fault? No, it's not, because that AlphaTauri has been proven to be like bottom 2 car on the grid at this point with how well Williams has done the last couple weeks.
So I just want to bring this up for De Vries. At probably tracks that he would have raced on in the past. So you have Bahrain. He came 14th. Mm-hmm. Okay, not bad. Yuki was 11th, 14th. You know what? You're in that range of the car. Monaco, another one. Because, yeah, you wouldn't have a lot of experience in Saudi Arabia. That never would have existed. No. Australia, you would never have gone there. Maybe once, but I don't really think so. Azerbaijan, never would have been there. Miami, nope. What was it? Imola, that was canceled, right? So, back to Monaco. He finished 12th there. Okay. Respectable. 12th, I think, is not a bad result. Yuki was 15th. Beat him there. Spanish Grand Prix, Yuki came 12th. De Vries came 14th. So, if you keep having with tracks I think he is more familiar with, he probably gets in the results. And what was he this week at British Grand Prix? Or a couple weeks ago? 17th? He was back there.
Yeah. He was like the last 16th. Running car.
But Yuki was 16th.
That car, yeah, the car was bad.
Yeah, so I think this is a terrible move by Red Bull.
Yeah.
For fans, I love how fans love it because it's Ricciardo is back, but at the same time, Drive to Survive fans can move on.
Well, and so here's the other brutal part, because I think a lot of people are they didn't overhype De Vries when he came in, but it was very much like last year. It was very much, he put a Williams in the points in his one and only race last year when Albon was out. Where did that happen?
It was a good drive.
But where did that happen, and with what team?
Monza and Williams.
So a straight line track where Williams has proven to be a straight line car. Mm-hmm. So it's not really surprising. And again, that's not to say he didn't deserve more time. He definitely did. At the very least, 2 more races. If you make this move in the summer and he's struggled in both before the end of it, yeah, take a month, sit down, figure it out.
I also think it's
and
a
that
lot
would
of
make
disrespect. It's a lot of disrespect to other series. He is a
Yeah.
proven champion. He is a good driver. Just
Yeah.
because he is not immediately great does not mean he's not suited. You know, I think he
Yeah.
could stick around and he could be competitive. I don't
And-
think he deserves that. So
Yeah.
it's
I
just the
totally, no, I
F1
totally
disrespect.
agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. But I'm not the F1 disrespect, or is it the Red Bull disrespect?
I think it's both.
Because to me,
Yes.
well, like to me, it has a lot more to do with how Horner and Marco have chosen to run things. Because I don't see any other team. Like, I know that they're all ruthless. I get that, but I don't see any other team being just as like brutal and ruthless and cold-hearted as Red Bull has been in their decisions when it comes to their drivers. They do not care.
Could argue McLaren is kind of getting that way, but
McLaren
feel like-
has definitely.
Yeah, but I also feel like at some points Zach Brown just is being Zach Brown. Like, I'm not sure how much of it is like the way that McLaren has done things, and like I'm not sure I would call them necessarily ruthless. Like, I think the Piastri move was just shady.
Piastri,
But-
below.
Yeah, it was all shady last year, but I mean,
That's what, okay. But
Cutting
I guess
a driver.
That's ruthless in terms of contract, not necessarily towards the driver itself.
yeah, and like, but I'm talking about like in terms of towards a driver. Like, we saw it with Gasly, we saw it with Albon. Now we see it with De Vries. Like, Red Bull has a history of doing this to drivers. You know, like
Who did they
just
do it
being
first to?
absolutely cutthroat.
First, it did Daniel Kvyat. He
Oh,
He got
yeah.
booted so that Max could get into the seat to then win the next race.
Yeah, that was
So-
it. That was brutal. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, Kvyat, that's such a sad story. You know,
Yeah.
gets
so
the seat, gets the girl.
Max takes both. Whoops. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from that conversation. Anything else? Guess the Checo part.
Yes.
Is this a warning shot to Checo?
100%.
Yeah, I think so.
How could you not see it that way, you know? Like
Especially-
I don't think Checo should be worried, only because his performance hasn't been that bad. Like, yes, he hasn't been doing himself any favors in qualifying, but he's still somehow gotten like at least into the top 5, top 3. He's fought his way back through the pack, but yeah, it's a warning shot. I'd
100%
worry
warning shot.
if I
But,
were
like,
him.
You're not fighting anyone. There's no reason to rock the boat like this. Like, I don't understand. Either it's Helmet or it's Horner. It's one of these guys is not content with just being where they are. They have to crush the opponent.
Hmm.
And
They
that's
have
not,
to have perfection.
that is unobtainable.
I know it is. Like, we all know it's unobtainable, but they don't care. They want perfection, and they will seek it until they think that they have found it in whatever combination that they deem fit. But there's always something wrong at Red Bull that they're like, nope, it's not good enough. Nope, it's not good enough. And sometimes it's drivers who take the heat and get cut. Or I don't know about the internal workings of Red Bull, but I can imagine there's probably turnover.
Now, I will give you one reason you want that push. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The one reason you want another teammate at the same level as your other teammate is so that you can both push each other to go faster. And if you're always trying to figure out how to go faster than the guy beside you, then you're going to come up with little extra ideas. Like, hey, maybe I could use a little more downforce in these kind of corners. I could be a little more slippery on the straight. You're putting these tiny little details into your engineer of little things you want to beat the guy beside you. If you're well clear of your teammate, and if you don't have a challenge, then you're going to be fine to drive the car. You're not going to be pushing that. So that's why I can understand wanting to have a driver there that pushes Max.
And it's not that I don't understand why they want that. It's, I think, the way that in which they go about it.
Yeah, that's fair. Steven, you've been kind of quiet.
I have, but there isn't really much else to say. Red Bull ruthless. DeVries deserve more time.
Okay, we'll take your
Justice for DeVries.
Yeah, but I guess in the end it'll be very interesting. Like, so DeVries' home race would have been in 3 races at the Dutch Grand Prix. If Daniel doesn't do well, do they just call up Liam Lawson like right before Coda or right before Vegas, where Ricardo has said he wants to race, and just, if he's doing the exact same, and just cut him, rip, and not just cut him, rip his heart out?
Oh my gosh, could
On
you
the way.
imagine?
You know
Could
what?
you
At this
imagine?
point, I want to see it.
No.
Yes, let's see that happen.
I want
you get
maximum
1, 2, 3,
chaos.
4, 5, 6, 7 races until the Coda race.
I think he has the end of the year. Mostly just
That
in terms
would-
of DeVries got half, give Ricardo half, all that, yada yada. So
Well, yeah, I think they're expecting a miracle out of Ricardo, to be honest with you.
but this could also be another reason of bringing Ricardo in over DeVries. Again, just thinking. Maybe DeVries doesn't know how to develop a car. You're working with Yuki,
Yeah, maybe.
younger guy, doesn't really know where to give feedback. DeVries, same thing. Your car's shit. If you're looking to build it for the future and to build a team, you need to get a car. Ricardo could be that guy to tell you how to build it.
So he's your Ryan Hunter-Reay, basically replacing Connor Daly.
Kind of.
Kind
But like
of.
it developing a car is an important talent not talked about in F1 drivers.
Yes.
Being able to give feedback, being able to basically say what you think you want. Like, that's something that Vettel and Alonso always said, like, that's why they were brought to other teams, right? That's why Aston went to go get Vettel. That's why Alpine went after Alonso. There are these minds that can tell you and give you the feedback. Look at Ricardo's history of starting with Alpine / Renault at the time. Wasn't a competitive car. Got better as he was there. Is that the team or is the driver?
And then he
giving
quit
the
on it.
feedback?
Yeah.
But then say the McLaren. The McLaren got better as he was there.
Yeah. And then he quit on it.
But again, is that the team quitting on him?
No, the team quit on him. I don't think he quit on that car. But like
Renault, he quit on the car.
Yes.
Yes, he did quit on Renault because McLaren probably promised him a lot. But like when the car was getting better, the regulations had changed. It wasn't Ricardo's fault. Everybody was getting used to that car. He should have been given another season, in my opinion. It was way too soon.
He takes 1 season to warm up. We've seen it
I know.
the last couple. Yeah. Oh, I expect brutal results for the rest of the year. And if he scores points, I will be shocked, especially because that AlphaTauri is not quick.
Anyway,
but if they start
this horse, I think we should move on. I don't know how much more we can add to this, and we have a lot more to talk about as it comes to the IndyCar race.
One other thing.
Go for it.
I was gonna say the PR out of that team will be fun.
Yes.
That is what I'm looking forward to the most for AlphaTauri in the second half of the season. The PR stuff.
That's fair. I can see that being good. But also the comments being not so good. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on to our highlight of the weekend, and the thing that I think we can talk for a very long time about, not to get away from Ricardo and Yuki, but Honda Indy Toronto, our home race.
Yeah.
That was the most unenthusiastic you two have ever been. Jesus.
Excuse me?
That was like
I didn't want to blow up the mic.
We got a full clap from Steven. That never happens.
A lot.
God damn you guys.
You, sir. I'm sorry. No. Justice for Steven on this. He actually gave a reaction this time.
See, what's funny is you're pointing at Sean on my screen.
Oh, see, I'm
Also
pointing
pointing
at
at
you
me.
on mine.
Yeah, no.
Other side. There you go. No. Drop your right
You know,
hand.
we should coordinate
There
this
you go.
beforehand where everyone is on everyone's screen so we can like point around.
Yeah.
Like I'm pointing
Actually,
at
that's
Steven,
a good idea.
pointing at
Anyway.
Taylor. Steven Taylor.
Oh, Sean, you got to switch your hands for me.
Listen, this is the screen that matters, man. This is the one that records, so
That's fair.
I win.
I'm usually on the bottom though.
Moving on. Okay,
Yep.
Honda Indy Toronto. God damn it.
Can you tell we are somewhat?
sorry.
Can you tell we're like somewhat tired from this weekend? Like
I got up at 4 a.m. for 2 days to go to this event.
Okay, I want you to Steven, give me your day of a fan. Taylor, give me your day as a marshal. And I'll see if I decide what I want to do next year. I think that's fair.
Fair enough.
You're on, Steven. I'm getting a convert.
Do you want to start? Go for it.
No, you go.
Oh, okay. Well, one, if you want to fully see what me and Sean got up to as fans, check out our TikTok.
Shameless plug.
Shame.
Of course.
We have to be shameless, Sean. We have to be
Do you
shameless.
want sponsors at some point? Shameless.
Yeah.
Changing shirt behind the merch tent is shameless anyway.
Yeah. Shocker. Anyways, what did we do? Friday was mostly me and Sean walking around, checking things out. This is my first time doing a Fan Friday, so it was really cool to just be able to go anywhere and everywhere. Yeah.
Actually, I didn't know you've never done a Fan Friday.
No.
Okay.
Never done. So
Wow, it was his first time. Wow.
It
was a lot of fun. I mean,
shut up.
yeah. But it was a lot of fun being able to go watch from anywhere, and it was great to see the turnout too. For I get it's free, but the turnout was amazing. The grandstands were packed for what IndyCar practice on, basically. What else did we get up to that day? We met Matt Clark, we met Roman Grosjean, which is great. You know, just casually walking through. Sean got to meet Pato. Sean, you can't meet the drivers if you don't if you're sitting behind turn 3 or
That's
4.
Fair.
Yeah, turn 4. Turn 3 you might be able to, but then you should also be watching the race or whatever's going on track. So you can't exactly just say, someone take over for 5 seconds. I gotta go chase Pato down.
Yeah, that's true.
So Saturday, very wet qualifying. So that kind of sucked, but it was a fun time still for most of the day. Made things interesting.
It was good, yeah.
So, and then Sunday was nice and warm, nice and sunny. Trying to think, we didn't really run into anyone. I ran into Hinchcliffe, and he was great as always.
As is tradition.
Yep. You didn't run into Hinchcliffe this year, right?
No, I didn't. No.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's okay. I have enough.
I mean,
photos with
you
him
got
in the
like 3 or
past.
exactly. I was gonna say you have like
Yeah.
3 or 4.
I used to run into him every year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But it was fun. I got to meet his brother too, and his brother was great.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah, Chris is fun.
Sure about his book.
I'm pretty sure I have it somewhere. It's somewhere. I don't know.
Now, have you read it?
Any. Yes.
Okay.
Again,
I'm surprised. I'll be honest. That's not the answer I expected.
If I could find it, or I might have given it to my dad. That might have been it.
Fair enough.
So, anywho,
Good cop-out answer.
done. Yes, I might have actually given it to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Believe you.
Sure, whatever. Anywho, you'd miss out on a lot of fun working it. Like, I can somewhat say I worked it because I was taking all the videos for our socials, but like that's still 99% just having fun and being at the track and getting to watch the race and enjoying yourself. And Sean, one more thing to just think about. Think about all the beers you couldn't drink, or all your apple juice that you couldn't drink.
Dude, those ciders were great.
Right?
Anyway.
They were 6%. Did you notice that?
Oh, I did, and they tasted like apple juice. It was great.
Yeah. Sean got a little fucked up.
Oh, there you go.
I had 5 drinks before the race. We got there at
Boy.
10.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My dad just kind of kept handing me some.
Yeah.
He's a good
About all the
influence, I
fun
swear.
you miss.
That's fair. Taylor, working it. What's your why work it?
All right. Why work it? because, and honestly, like, I understand that this might not appeal to everybody, but it is quite honestly the closest that you can get to racing ever without having to pay for a seat. It's all volunteer. It is just for fun, but yes, you work it, but you work with a great group of people, and you feel like you're a part of the event. And you don't get that as a fan. Like, as a fan, you're just experiencing something, right? But when you're marshalling, you're in it, you're participating, you're responsible for the safety on track. You really feel like you are a part of the event. And it's really just a fun time. You get downtime, you get free lunches. You may not be able to drink, but you do after, and it's a fun time. Drinking with the Marshalls is a totally, like, it's a party, always.
Because we're all insane.
Yeah, because you're all just a little insane. But what I will say is on Sunday, when I was yellow flagging the race, I had a car come probably 2 feet in front of me. So you get real close and personal, and things can happen, but, you know, it's, if you want to experience the speed or really see the speed, that is your best option because you truly understand it. You can almost feel those cars take the wind right out of your lungs when they zoom by. And it's just fantastic to see. It's just fantastic.
You know what?
That's all I can say. Like,
I will let other people judge the winner of this, of whether watching or marshalling is better.
But, like,
however,
hold on, I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
Because
I thought you were done.
even as a marshal, oh, you also, as a marshal, you get 2 free general admission tickets that you can give to anyone you want. I know they're not grandstands, but still a good time. And for Fan Friday, it's free, so you can still go if you want and meet people. It's not like you don't have the opportunity. While you're working, you're working. You can't drink while you're working. But at the end of the day, we all have fun. We all talk about what's on track, and it's a great group of people. Join the Marshalls.
So I'm not going to say what I'm going to do next year because I probably don't know. I will say, Steven, Taylor just handed your ass on a platter with the arguments there.
Fine.
Like,
that's fine. Well, in the end, she could have just said, "You've done the fan thing 5 times or 10 years in a row now."
Yeah, that's fair.
But it doesn't matter.
But
if that's one of your favorite things to do, you can still do it.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to be the one to say which side's right, which side's wrong. I'll let other people decide that. However, you both made good arguments of why you should be there.
Come drink
Okay,
with me.
yeah. You should just be at the Honda Indy because it's super fun anyway, regardless of whether you work it or you're a spectator.
That is fair. Anyway, let's talk about the race for an actual second here, because we actually haven't talked about the main event, which is the IndyCar race, which I thought was a very entertaining race. What did you guys think?
It was. I thought, well, it was very entertaining for me.
Fair. We'll get to that. So we'll go by it, I guess, chronologically.
Yes.
Of the week. Mm-hmm. So you had practice. Not a whole lot to note there. Andretti looked fast. Herta was up there. Kirkwood was up there. Kirkwood was one of the fastest guys all week. Qualifying happens. Dry first Q1 for Group 1. Group 2 goes out, starts raining. And it was chucking it for the start of the Group 2 qualifying.
Yeah.
It was
pouring.
heavy rain.
Yeah.
I like how they were like, it's like in the commentator, they were like, it's some light rain. And meanwhile, we're just in turn 3, just getting drenched. We're like, step outside, asshole. Try us.
Yeah. Come out the booth.
Yeah.
And what's worse is turn 3 looks out on the Lake Ontario, and we just had to sit there and slowly watch the droplets come across the lake.
Closer,
and they're like,
and closer.
This is gonna suck. It started with, that doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty light. I can't see the other side of the lake, which you can usually see during when it's like completely clear.
Yep.
I can't see the other side of the lake, and that's probably because of rain. And you start to see the heavy droplets coming. It's like, get the rain gear out.
We at least had preparation to get the rain gear out before anything started.
There was supposed to be thunderstorms. Of course, I was going to have the rain gear.
Exactly. We obviously come prepared.
Yes.
I was under a canopy for this. I did not get wet.
That's another point to Marshall, so I'm going to point that out.
Oh yeah, another point to marshals is we get covered.
I would just like to say, if you get put in turn 3, those marshals were not covered. They had,
They had
a
a
little
tent.
umbrella. They had the marshals with the flags, not the safety team. The marshals
No, but there was 2
had
marshal
a
stands
little.
there.
Should have.
There was the marshal stand that had the box for the electric stuff. They were under a tent, and the one buddy up there in front of the flag did not. That was one guy.
Yeah.
And that was his choice.
Oh, interesting.
There was 2
They
of them.
gave.
And they had a
Oh,
little
they
detail.
must have been short on canopies, but oh well. If you get a good spot, then which is most of them have covered. So anyway, that was an interesting one because we're watching this happening, and we're like, so I was stationed at turn 11, and I was like looking at the pits, right? So I could see everybody like pitting, and you can kind of see them being like looking up and what's gonna happen. So we're all sticking our hands out the little cutouts and feeling what the rain's doing, and then it just starts pouring. And you get very misted.
Yeah, it was. I guess for you
It was
being down
interesting.
low, you get the spray off the tires and everything, so you still get wet that way.
Oh, I was covered in tire bits and covered in tire dirt.
Yeah, when I went and saw you on the Saturday or Sunday, your face was just like half covered in like smut and shit. It was just looked like you were crawling in the dirt, basically.
That's street racing.
That's fair. So yeah, qualifying was fun. You ended up getting Christian Lundgaard on pole, second career pole.
Which was fantastic and very surprising.
Very. More surprising was also his performance in the race, which we'll get to. But going into the race, you know what his odds were?
What were his odds?
like
Did you place a bet?
No, they were, Steven, they were longer than that.
Were they? It wasn't much longer.
It was like plus 1,200.
Hmm.
Because no one actually thought Lundgaard could get a win.
I mean, clearly I
Oh.
didn't bet on him, so neither did I.
Neither did I.
So
yeah, race begins, takes 500 meters to get a wreck?
yeah. Well, it was really funny how quickly the commentator curse hit, and they're clean through turn 1 by about 5 meters, and then there's a 6-car pileup,
Yeah.
and we're all sitting because they're coming down to turn 3, and for us, like lap 1 or any restart is like the best time because then you're waiting for a dive bomb, and we just see everyone just slowly, nice and processionally, just go through the corner, and we're like, what the fuck? Where the fuck is the yellow? And we just look. I heard turn 1 clean. I assume turn 2 is probably fine, and then you just look back and the road is blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was such a mess.
It was, but I also got to commend the absolute move of the race was done in that pileup, which was Graham Rahal, after punting someone into it, going, whoops, wasn't me, backing up and just going through the Prince's Gates. Also, little aside, is it the Princess Gates or Prince's Gates?
Princess Gates, isn't it?
It's
thought
the
it's the Princess
Prince's Gate.
Oh, Prince's Gates?
Yeah,
Oh.
everyone always calls it the Princess Gates. No, it's Prince's Gate.
Hmm.
Yeah, fun fact.
Yeah, that incident was really funny because so when you're like working it, you're like with your people or whatever, we're all so excited. Like we have our person on comms just waiting, and he's giving us the green flag, go ahead, and we're all like, "Woo, green flag, yes, let's get this thing going. And immediately full course yellow, and I'm like, just immediately. I was like, oh my gosh, we couldn't have 5 clean laps, people. Could
Couldn't
not
get a
have
corner
5
clean.
clean laps.
Not even a corner.
Oh yeah, and Peter was working at 1.
Right.
So he was like, he's seeing all this coming, and he's like, oh my god. And it's funny because the guy who does all the Marshall stuff for the Indy, he came up to him and he's like, you guys broke a record. You had the most cars in the runoff for an IndyCar race.
Yeah, because they had the whole field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they couldn't go through the track. I'm like, are they going to red flag it? No. They can go through the runoff and go by. That runoff in Toronto is one of the most ingenious runoffs in all sport. Because it punishes you if you miss the corner, you go wide, and you rejoin. Not many other places have that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So that was the beginning of the race, a little anticlimactic to start. Then we started to get into a pit stop phase. And this was kind of a weird part of the race when we kind of got into like the split strategy. Lundgaard was one of the guys to pit early. Then you had McLaughlin and who else was it? Herta, I think, running up front. Was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
McLaughlin, Herta, Dixon,
Power, those guys.
Yeah. Well, so who was it? What you had Lundgaard on the green striped tires. A lot of the other guys in the top 5 decided to go with the harder alternate compound.
No, other way around. The greens are alternate. The blacks are prime.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
They kept calling it the black alternate tire,
which is dumb. But yes, I understand.
Yes. But anyways, so like, yeah, Lundgaard went short. Ganassi went long. Andretti went long. Penske was kind of mixed because I think McLaughlin was on the blacks, but I want to say Newgarden was on the greens. Penske was a bit of a mix.
Yeah, they kind of split the strategy on that one.
Yeah, but Andretti and Ganassi both planned to go long at the start.
Yep. But yeah,
wait the kid out and see what he does.
And the kid did not disappoint.
He did not.
And then literally in the midpoint of the race, literally halfway through, we had our second incident of the race, which is when another Taylor story will have to come in, because Grosjean hits the wall right in front of you. Well, right in front of your eye line, basically.
So I was at 11A, so I didn't actually see it happen, but I could see how close it was to the pit in.
How are you at 11A and not see it? It happened like literally down like in 10. Like you're looking right at it.
Yeah, but no, 11A is a little bit further, right? So I can't. That part is cut off in my sight line just a tad. If I was in 11, I would have seen it clear as day. But it happened. When I saw it happening, I turned around and I had my full course yellow out. I turned around to see who it was, and all I said was, "You have got to be kidding me." And everyone's like, what? I was like, all I wanted was for Grosjean to finish this race. Just to finish.
Sean,
not even
what?
like
Sean, what was our I was gonna say, Sean, what was our reaction?
I think it was the same. It's like, oh fuck.
No, it was
Of
shocker.
course.
It's Grosjean.
True. Okay. In the moment, it's like, of course it was Grosjean, but it's like, fuck, this kind of just changed the race, right?
Yep.
'Cause I also wanted Grosjean to do well.
I just wanted him to finish.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not saying that as a good Grosjean's out. It was very much the way his season's going. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it has been a bad season for him.
So,
and consequently, my fantasy team.
And like he said, like the wheel jumped out of his hand, which again is probably to the track just being a very bumpy track. But also you kind of wonder, like, is his hand okay? Because you know how he has the burn and the scars on his hands and stuff like that, right? So maybe a little bit of injury always be in there, or kind of
possibly.
reoccurring?
But my corner captain actually mentioned. He said, he saw him kind of turning. And he thinks there could have been a steering issue because one of the wheels was turning in the direction that he was going. The other one just didn't turn at all.
Maybe he clipped the wall. I think that was also suggested.
Yeah, so something could have happened and his steering could have had an issue. So, I don't know. Stuff happens and...
Yeah, that was an unfortunate corrosion incident. And then... Going back to green after that, we had the defining, I would say, incident of the race, because this basically was the catalyst for everything that came in the last half of the race, which was Castroneves getting punted by Kirkwood on the restart. Again, right in front of Taylor.
Literally right in front of me.
That one was right in front of you.
This one was actually right in front of me. The point where...
I'm pretty sure Pillow hit the wall in front of you that broke his wing.
Yes. So he was all... Like, there were 4 cars at one point in 11A. And... So, ouch. Ow. Sorry. The way, like, when you're yellow flagging, you don't look at all points, right? So I'm looking in our flagging zone, and that's all I'm focusing on. So I see them basically out of the corner of my eye coming in. But I don't like, all I feel in that moment were hands on me, ready to pull me back because I'm short and have to stand somewhat close to the wall so I can actually like get my flag out. I look up and there's like 4 cars in front of me, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
I just want to point out,
shit.
there you are with your flag out, right?
That's my flag.
I know.
That's my flag. That's me. That's me.
Good job, Taylor.
Oh my gosh. Forgot to press the button, so the lighting system did not go off, but whatever.
I think the flag's more important at the moment.
Yeah, like it was our corner captain was like right behind us, ready to pull us back because like thankfully they didn't hit the wall. Like the car that was right in front of me didn't hit the wall. Hard enough for anything to happen. But then Castro Neves is like spun around. And I'm looking at him, and he's going into 11, so I'm going full course yellow, and 11 starts to wave. And I'm like, are you going to go? And he turns around, starts going like the opposite way of the race direction, and then ends up spinning around and facing us again. So it was a bit of an interesting one. It was one of those ones where you have a OMG, this could be my time moments. But
Yes.
again, I will say, even though it can be a little dangerous, it is the closest you get to racing, and those moments end up being some of the most memorable that you have.
Yeah. That's fair.
Safety, obviously, our safety as marshals is the most important thing.
I love how they were ready to pull you, because, like, what was the one thing we told Taylor before the weekend?
Stay away from the wall. And what do we do the first time that we see her like actually
She's
working?
leaning on the
'Cause I
wall.
think, yeah, because I was gonna say I think the first time we saw her was in between sessions.
Yeah.
It was clean, so it was fine. It was safe. And also, when you sent a picture in the group chat, I think I was working at that point, and you said, don't lean on the wall. And I'm like, I'm actually a few feet away, I promise. The illusion of it.
Listen, we can post that picture. We can let people judge that. Like, I don't think that'll fly.
Okay, well, look, no one got hurt. Everybody was okay, but it was a very, it was a full course yellow incident, and it was an interesting one. It was cool.
That's fair. Yeah. So after that, because again, Pillow hit the wall at incident, and that created an interesting part at the end. But you had the split strategy towards the end of the race coming together, which basically concluded with Christian Lundgaard running away with it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He had no one near him, no one putting pressure. Closest guy to him was Pillow, who, if he didn't have that damaged wing, maybe he had good pace. Because he started, what? I want to say like 14th or something. Like, he was a little further back.
At the start of the race or on the restart?
Start of the race.
Start of the race, he was out in like first group qualifying, wasn't he?
So he's like,
he was way back there.
But he was like 14th. Like, he just missed out on like the top 12. So he's like,
He would have been, was this
13th, 14th?
14 or 8th row?
Okay.
So like 15, 16.
Yeah, like he came flying through the field. Looked like at one point, I think Pillow was going to win again. And, damaged his front wing. But he did an amazing job as Kirkwood ran away with the race. Pillow held on. Herta, I think, had a chance to attack him. Couldn't get by him. It was McLaughlin that had a chance. I think, what was it? They both had to pit at the end. They were short on fuel.
So Power, I'm trying to remember who stopped where. Power and McLaughlin had to splash and go because they were both chasing. There's Pillow. Newgarden ran out of gas. Herta ran out of gas. Canapino ran out of gas. Someone else ran out of gas in turn. We had, let me find the pictures because there was 3 cars that ended up in turn 3 just out of gas.
Yep.
Where was it?
Because it was Herta ran out on the straight. Then Newgarden ran out in front of us. Then it was
Ray Hall.
Ray
Hall ran out. Yeah. So yeah, lots of guys barely making it if they didn't make it.
Yes.
So,
but
yeah.
So
hats off to
all in all,
Lundgaard.
it was a great race, and
Yes,
I honestly was really good at the end, seeing also Lundgaard's best friend like crying for him in the pit lane, like just being happy that like your friend won a race, and a lot of inappropriate speculation like, oh, is it his boyfriend or something? It's like, here's the thing, one, doesn't matter regardless. If it is, that's fine, go on. If it's not, there is nothing wrong with crying for your friend succeeding, even as a guy, even if you're just really good friends, right? Like,
Yeah.
Again, it's inappropriate kind of comments put out there. It's like, just be happy for people, you don't gotta make it weird in any way. Just, if people want to be happy for their friend for winning a race, that is completely fine. Don't be a dick about it.
Amen. Amen.
And then we got one of the more unique victory celebrations post-race with Lundgaard shaving his mustache in the middle of the victory circle.
I'm not going to lie. The stash did not look good, so
Nope.
I loved that.
I like how he said, I'm going to keep it till I win. I guess the racing gods were like, yeah, you're getting rid of that.
Yep,
yeah, like, please, it's time.
Yeah. Another race I kind of want to talk about this weekend was the USF 2000s. Because our homeboy, Matt Clark, one, great guy. Nice to meet him. Matt Clark got screwed, I would say. And so in the first race, he changed because it was the wet track that was drying out. He changed on the slicks, second guy to do it, took the gamble, making up great time. He's coming through the field. If it doesn't go yellow, if it stays green, he's going to win. He had the pace. You get a late yellow. Okay, I get it. So then he got jumped on the restart by Sykes, who Sykes took the lead. He's the points leader, I think, in the USF 2000.
He is.
And he's having a great season himself. We'll talk about him, I'm sure, at some point this summer. So Sykes took the lead from Clark. Clark's running second. Okay, respectable. Get a P2 in your home race. Except Max Garcia, youngest guy in USF 2000, 14-year-old, comes dive bombing out of nowhere. Goes from 6th to 2nd.
Wow.
Matt Clark basically, he could have slammed the door on him. Didn't. Gave him the room. Let him be there. And kind of killed his own momentum in the corner. Matt Clark shuffled back to 5th. Garcia finished 2nd. Oh.
Wow.
And that was on the Saturday, right? So I'm like, motherfucker, beat Matt Clark. Made him really ruined his race. We're leaving on the Saturday. Who do we run into? Max Garcia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Props to John for finding young Garcia.
Yes. So, chatted with him and his mom for a minute there. Basically, his parents didn't see the dive bomb.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Steven had a video of it.
Yep.
Oh, love that.
Yep.
Nice.
So it was really, really good.
Oh.
And
they were what, in turn 11 or something? Like they were probably on the pit wall.
Yeah.
Or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But yeah. It was funny because Sean went to the bathroom
came out.
right before we left, and he comes out and his dad just turns, "Hey, you know who this is?" When 2 hours before, Sean was
I'm gonna kick his ass.
Can't believe he screwed over Matt Clark. Sean went full Patriot mode.
100%. But he was a nice kid, and he's 14, and he just turned 14 already this year, so he's young.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really young, but you know what? That's talent. So clearly
Honestly,
he's got that.
Well, and this is where the second race happens. I think Matt Clark was running 2nd or 3rd this time in the USF 2000.
Third.
And Who else sends it up the inside again the last lap but young Max Garcia? And this time, Matt Clark said no, and they took themselves out. So that's what you gotta love about the lower levels of racing is these guys are still figuring it out. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
But you know what? Those are the lessons that you learn,
Yeah.
right? You know when to take your moments and you know when you don't. And the lower levels of racing, it's fantastic to watch, but that's when you kind of get you see the grit, like that natural grit that they have that just gets refined over time as they continue in their careers.
Yes, 100%.
well, and it probably doesn't help that he had 2 fans the day before pumping his tires,
About his
saying,
dive bomb.
"Hey man, that was a great move."
It was though.
Tries it again.
It was.
It's all your fault.
Honestly, yeah, we probably. Whoops, we kind of caused that a bit. So it happens.
It's
Did
just
Sean
the-
and Steven cause an incident?
it'd be Sean and John did it, but he
Sorry,
went full.
Sean and John.
He went full goofy. I'll do it again.
Exactly.
Vote now on your phones.
But also got to shout out Canadian Nico Christodoulou. Yeah, it's it. Christodoulou. Trying to figure out how to pronounce that. Because he won the USF 2000 race, so at least we had a Canadian win. Yeah. So.
Nice.
Matt Clark got screwed.
I mean-
Canadian still won. Max Garcia is a mad lad, so. It was all fun.
Yeah.
Overall, I would say it was a really good weekend for the support series as well. We had some really, really good races. And that's also a plug.
What was your favorite support series?
The Radicals.
Yeah?
Yeah, because screw watching the sports car race. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Every single time it's a mess, and I can't take any more Hyundai pain.
The squeaks?
Huh?
The squeaking Hyundai?
The squeaks?
We got
Yes,
a
the
squeaker.
squeaky Hyundais, and I also watched one. We had a leading edge in 11A, and I watched one get absolutely destroyed on Saturday.
Wasn't the number 3, was it?
Nope, it was the 80 car.
Okay.
Oof.
Papa Atrell.
Yeah. I was gonna say the sports car was more entertaining off track because I knew someone in one of the garages and one of the cars didn't go due to some driver drama.
Steven, explain the story.
Well, so one of our students is working for one of the teams, and I finally ran into her on Sunday, and we just started chatting. I was like, "Oh, so how do you think the cars are going to do today?" Well, we only got one car going because the men are fighting.
Wait, which one?
Okay. I won't say, so that way it stays somewhat anonymous. But
That's
I mean,
fair.
if you look,
We'll
at
tell you
the-
after.
if you, I was gonna say,
Tell me after.
if you look at the starting list, I'm pretty sure there's only one car missing from that lineup. So
I don't know how to
Couldn't
people
be
are
too hard
listening
to
to this are going to look up the Sports Car Championship of Canada and figure
no,
out.
and then also know my connection to someone else.
Exactly.
Okay, well, tell me after. Anyway, the
Anywho.
Radical race was actually really, really cool. I don't know. Do you guys know about the Racing for Autism team, Radical team?
Yep.
Yeah, we saw their thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
they had a
so
really good setup.
yeah, and he got a podium this weekend
Nice.
in one of those races. So it was he had a really good race on, I think it was Saturday. But it was a really interesting series to see, and we had a 4-car Radical pileup almost right in front of me coming out of 10 that I have souvenirs from. So
What did you get? What'd you get?
I got hood clasps and I think a vent cover. Somewhere in here. It's in my bucket, but those are my parts. Those are my spare parts.
Heyo.
Heyo.
It works.
Also, if you work the Indy, you could get spare parts. You never know. Souvenirs.
You don't have to work the Indy. People leave with tires every year.
Yeah,
And we
there
keep
was
trying
guys-
to figure out.
Yeah.
We
How
keep
do you
trying to
do
we keep
that?
trying to figure out. Yeah, we keep trying to figure out how do you get one.
Confidence? Just grab it and walk out like you know?
What,
Well,
from
I
like
mean-
the tire walls?
No.
No,
Guy
like
had some actual tire walking out with it.
yeah,
Listen,
From an Indy car?
yes, or something. It was one of the cars.
from some.
I think it might have been
It
one
was
of the
chewed.
other series, like one of the USF 2000 or
Yeah, it was chewed to hell.
yeah.
Okay,
So-
people need to stop with these weird ones. As I just say that I have hood clasps from Radical, but it's fine. Those are the bits that came off in the moment.
Yep.
But yeah.
But yeah, Toronto, I'm pretty sure if you walk anywhere with confidence in that paddock area, you can get somewhere. We may or may not have done that a couple times. So
just act like you know where you need to be, and you're good.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't ask any questions.
They really don't.
Exactly.
I'm sure there was
Trust
a
me,
certain
security
point that
was
if
not good.
I yelled at you, Taylor, you could have just walked me over there and it'd been fine.
Yeah.
Just look like you're supposed to be there. Look all professional. Put a walkie-talkie on your hip, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Next year, I'm showing up with Team Arrow McLaren shirt, black pants, black shoes. Walk like I know it.
I'm gonna have just black golf pants, plain blackless polo shirt, IndyCar hat, radio on your hip, good to go.
There you go.
Oh, the IndyCar people were wearing gray.
You think some random person's gonna check that?
Probably not security. They were not good.
Especially if
They
you,
were terrible.
if you just
security was bad.
They were bad.
Security was so bad. We fought with security on the way out because they were trying to get out and take a shortcut through turn 8 and 6. And then we were fighting with them, and they were like, no, you can't come through here. There's cars on track. And we're like, it's done. The race is over. They are tearing down the track. What are you saying? There's cars on track.
Do you see the marshals
left.
on track? No, because we're them.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
I was like, what are you doing? So after 10 minutes of fighting with people and him radioing his boss, I guess, and his boss finally saying, yeah, there's nothing. It's not a hot track anymore. They can leave. We finally got through. It was not good. The communication between security people was not good this weekend.
My condolences. But you survived.
Oh, well. Well, we all survived. It was great.
It was a good time.
We had a fun time.
Now, as we wrap up, I want each of us to give a little sales pitch of why someone should come to an IndyCar event such as this, or specifically, why come to the Honda Indy Toronto? What makes this event so good? And I will give it to you guys to start.
Are we just talking from a fan? Yeah, just a fan perspective, right?
The event as a whole.
Okay. Do you want me to start, Taylor, or do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay. Biggest thing for me versus so full disclosure, I have never been to an F1 event, but Sean and I did spend a lot of time talking to two guys in line today that were big F1 fans, and they were mostly like, yeah, the dad, it was a father-son, and dad's like, I used to come down to the race a lot until the really bad accident in 96. Anywho, but they had apparently gone to Montreal a couple times, and they're like, man, it's crazy to see the access between F1 and IndyCar. IndyCar, we've met 3 drivers. F1, we didn't get close to the cars at all because there were so many people with such limited access. The biggest thing for me that IndyCar does right, especially in Toronto, is how easily you can get up close and personal. Paddock Pass is what, $60? Which, if you factor in how much an F1 ticket is versus an IndyCar ticket, you can buy the IndyCar ticket with a grandstand seat and a paddock pass for less than an F1 ticket for the entire weekend. And then you can do things like meet Roman Grosjean or Pato O'Ward or James Hinchcliffe or Townsend Bell. They're walking around, and half the time people just don't walk up to them and say hi. Yeah. And getting to see the cars being worked on and all the there's none of the the pop-up screens going in front of the cars as they're being worked on. It's so cool to see the, I guess, mechanics behind the scenes. And again, you have such great access to the drivers outside of, say, an autograph session. It's much more personable of an experience, I guess is the best way to put it. So
fair enough. Taylor, you want to go?
So, I mean, I've been to the Indy a few times as a fan myself before I took the plunge and decided to work it, but I will say it's and I think that's a great comparison. Yeah, so I was going to say it's a great comparison to Montreal. When you go to an F1 event, F1 it's money, right? Like everything's pretty expensive there, and the general admission is good, but you don't really get to see much of the track unless you're willing to walk like at least 45 minutes, half an hour across to the other side, and get there early, right? But I feel like with IndyCar, like the points are pretty accessible all the time. I mean, my dad and my brother showed up maybe an hour before the race started, and they got a really good spot just outside of turn 1, with general admission. So like there's a lot that you can see. But I think Steven makes a really good point that IndyCar does kind of the person right. Like the fan experience is really like a true fan experience, because when you're able to meet drivers and you get to see the paddock stuff like up close and personal, you can see them, making some changes to cars. And things are just a lot more accessible, I find, at Indy. And I find the atmosphere is just great. Like everybody's kind of there for a good time, and yeah, you don't really get that kind of air of almost like superiority in a way. Like, at F1 events, and they have like the paddock club and all of that and stuff like that. You're constantly being thrown kind of it's a rich person's sport in your face.
Yep.
But with IndyCar, I truly feel like you get it. Like anybody can be a fan. Anybody can be here and should be here. Like Fan Friday is so great. Like it's free. They just ask for a donation. You don't get that with F1. If you show up for Friday, or sorry, for Thursday, then you may be able to do a grid walk. But that's also like, who's going to get there early enough on Thursday? Because we're all traveling from all over.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think IndyCar kind of does it right. I feel like, unfortunately, F1 is too big to want to do it the right way. And I could go on and on about the things I heard about the Vegas GP this weekend. But I'll save that for another time.
Yeah, that's a story for another time, I think. Like, for me, I was going to say, like, when it comes to this event, and not specifically IndyCar events, but the Honda Indy Toronto, it is one of the city's most unique events, right? You have a large North American brand in IndyCar. I don't want to say global, but it does have a global following, and just
it's
not as big.
Getting more global.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Massive event, downtown Toronto, easily accessible, like just like a couple dollars on a streetcar, on a bus, you can get to that event. You don't have to go like half an hour out of the city or something like that, or like an hour out of some places. Very easy to get to, even if you're a casual motorsports fan, or if you just want to see what the heck it's all about. So easy to get down to. Friday being free was fantastic. People were able to walk, go wherever, and like you said, Taylor, it is very easy to get from one place to another there. Unlike an F1 track, it might be a half an hour walk. You can go from paddock to turn 3 in 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, like
probably,
even so,
probably 5 if you run.
Yeah. So I did the 5-minute run last year because I had to get out of there early. So you can get from, I have long legs, but you can get from turn 3 to the front door in about 5 minutes if you run. Right before the race, there was a huge pileup at the one bridge crossing that they have right over turn 10, 11, which is the one thing I will criticize them for, is that part sucks. It still only took me 5 minutes to get across, which isn't that bad considering only half of it is designated to go. It's a two-way flow, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes to move, and they're moving hundreds of people over that bridge. That's not that bad.
No, yeah.
I thought it was going to take me 20 minutes.
See, on top of that, like in terms of easy to get from one place to the other, besides, the bridge, which can cause a bit of a bottleneck, like you mentioned, you also get the accessibility of the paddock right there. Or if you don't want to pay for the paddock pass, you can still look at the Road to Indy paddock. You can go see the NASCAR Pinty Series paddock. We didn't even mention the Pinty Series being there. The Pinty Series racing on the Friday on the free day was also fantastic. The stands were packed for that. And I can't get over how proud I was of the crowd they had this year for the race.
Biggest crowd in history.
Not in history.
I thought it was in
No.
history. I thought that's what they said.
Biggest crowd since '99.
Since '99. Gotcha.
Dude, this place back in the heyday in like the '80s and '90s, like
Yeah.
early, they were pulling like 100,000 fans.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 90,000, but like, doesn't sound as good as 100. But you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
And it's just a really fun event, and you don't even have to be a fan of racing to go down to it. Like, you can go to it with friends who are, and it's just kind of fun to see all the stuff that's around, the sound, the smell, the adult beverages that are flowing. It was a good time, and honestly, after last year, I was really worried about the future of the race last year because it was not a good crowd. It seemed like they kind of really half-assed it post-COVID, and it was like, okay, is this really going to be a future on the calendar? And after this year, I'm like, okay, this event is kind of back on as being a main Toronto event to go to.
Yeah, they really turned it out this year. It was a really good weekend. And I'm looking forward to next year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What side of the wall will it be on? We'll see.
We'll
Better be
out.
on the Marshall side. Both of you should be on the Marshall side. Just saying.
Whoever said anything about being on the Marshall side, we're on the track. Somehow. I don't know how.
Too many adult beverages.
Yes.
Well, apparently security's
But
terrible,
y'all-
so.
Yeah. All I'm saying is y'all hear my pitch all the time to become marshals, and you really should. And I'm going to get you converted by the end of this year. That's my mission. Next year, you two, I better see. Yeah, I better see you two at the next school at the beginning of the year. Next year.
I will take it under advisement.
Yep.
Well, I know the person you need to contact, who's the recruitment guy. So I'm going to get y'all recruited if it's the last thing I do.
Fair enough. Anything else to wrap up this week, or is that kind of everything?
I was going to say the last thing for Toronto. McLaren has this city by a stranglehold now. There was so much goddamn orange. They were sold. So this was Eden's first time ever at an IndyCar event, and she's just started watching racing. She's like, I like the orange cars. I was like, okay, fair enough. Could not find a fucking McLaren hat anywhere.
Wow.
They were totally sold out. I asked one of the ladies at the merch tent. Sold out on Saturday.
Wow.
Sold out of
Yeah,
McLaren
popular.
hat on Saturday. Sean got a new Paddle Award
team jersey. Team jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was 2 left when I went to the merch shop before the race.
Yeah.
McLaren.
Oh my gosh.
Toronto is a big McLaren city, apparently. So
Wow.
is
Well,
part of that probably due to the fact that you can wear it to both F1 and IndyCar? Maybe. But regardless, Toronto loves
Maybe.
McLaren, apparently.
I mean, they have a good driver lineup. They're a good team that's not like a favorite. So yeah, you cheer for McLaren.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yep.
Good branding.
I'm cheering. I can't even say I'm cheering for my ex F1 boys, but oh well,
I mean-
it is what it is.
Yep. And on that note, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We'll be back next week. Give us a follow on social media if you can. Give us a like and all that stuff, and we'll be back. Thank you, and goodbye. Fuck you, Steven.
Mondays are for Martin.
Thank you for tuning in to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and follow the show on Twitter at Spare Parts Racing. That's Spare Parts RACIN, and on TikTok at Spare Parts Pod. Follow the hosts at Sean Chavarella, at Stephen Clary, and at Tay Moore.